Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
The all-new Chevy Colorado is made for more. Stacked with the latest in-vehicle technologies like a class-leading 11-inch diagonal center touchscreen and an extra-large wireless charging pad. Plus, it features wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility to make staying connected easy wherever your adventure takes you. Chevy Colorado, made for more. Learn more at Chevrolet.com/truck/Colorado. Claims based on latest competitive data.
As if the McCrispy couldn't get any better, Bacon and Ranch just entered the chat. The Bacon Ranch McCrispy, available at participating McDonald's for a limited time. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. That drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares, but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to King of the Hill Rewatch Podcast. I am Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
Rusty, we are at, number one, congratulations on feeling better.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel great.
You were a little down and out.
Yeah, I was. No, I feel great, though, now.
And we are in Season 2, Episode 10, Bobby Slam.
Bobby Slam, yep.
When you say it like that, it sounds like a body slam.
It does. It is, I guess it's a double entendre.
I believe so, yeah, or at least a single one.
Yeah.
So no bell, no yell.
No bell, no yell.
At the beginning here. We go right into Bobby and Con Jr. playing a wrestling video game. And it looks like they almost look like NES controllers. You know,
yeah.
But it is.
I remember all those old wrestling games, too. They were.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the Nintendo 64 one. I think it was WCW versus NWO.
Mm-hmm.
And, at that time I was like, man, the graphics could not get any better.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just
that was a big deal.
Square, just these polygons.
I had a Sega Dreamcast, and
that was pretty good though.
I think
that's revolutionary. Yeah,
I think I've told you this before, but you could download like foreign games.
Yeah,
if you knew where to get them.
Yeah, I could talk about that video game system for a lifetime.
And we had a Japanese wrestling game that included Leatherface.
Yeah, wrestling's huge in Japan.
Stuff,
yeah, for sure. No,
it was great.
Shane McMahon went to Japan and started a wrestling thing. Well, that's why when Vince just retired, he didn't ever take it up or anything. He didn't. He doesn't want anything to do with he wants to do his own thing.
I didn't realize Vince had retired.
Yeah, Vince retired. He was kind of forced in retirement over some.
Was that the sex thing?
Yeah, money for sex thing, and he kind of just retired after that. It was like, I'm already this old, might as well just go ahead and enjoy the rest of my life.
You gotta hand it to him. Yeah, his wife was always the well-spoken one. He's good, but I can imagine him just flying into fits of rage.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we start off with the two playing the wrestling game. In Sergeant Gorgeous, which we find out is the person in the video game that Bobby's playing.
Yeah.
He just starts punching the ref. And Bobby, he really likes that about wrestling because there aren't any rules.
No rules.
You can do anything to a guy. You can jump on him. You can stick him with a pin. The only limit is your imagination.
Beat him with a chair, or what was that one wrestler, Sting, with a baseball bat?
Oh yeah. Well, Mick Foley
wrapped in barbed wire.
Mick Foley
sock,
had that.
the dirty sock.
Yeah. And then Con wants to know, don't they have any girl wrestlers in the game? And Bobby says no, but some of the older ones have breasts.
Yeah, that killed me. I thought that was funny. Yeah. Well, that's what's funny, because if you see like Ric Flair or any of those older guys go out there and wrestle now,
they had the floppy chest
from all the weightlifting and working out all them years, and then it just doesn't hold up.
I think it deflates. It's almost like a balloon.
Yeah.
Just go. Peggy comes into the room. She says that she tells Connie that her mom is on the phone. She wanted to make sure she was doing her homework. Of course, Connie is immediately thinks she's in trouble.
Immediately.
And then Peggy, being Peggy, says, I don't think so. I told her you were busy wrestling with some word problems.
I kind of like
at herself
Peggy for that,
and then goes, oh, Peggy.
Thanks, Miss Hill. No, I kind of like Peggy for that. Letting kids be kids. Homework does nothing for you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but okay.
Well, Finland has no homework, and they have higher literacy rates than the United States.
Finland?
So, yeah, they don't. They don't have any homework. I think they have like 4-day weeks.
Well, yeah, but they have 37 people that live in that country too.
Yeah, too.
So Connie is extremely happy, but she says she better start her math homework, and Bobby responds with, "Oh, that's gotta hurt." And then we see them both doing homework, and of course they live right next to each other, so they're looking through the windows at each other.
Yeah,
Bobby, this is just a really sweet exchange here. Bobby holds up what looks like a dry erase board, and says, "What'd you get on number 1?" Then she types something in, turns it, and
this is a big,
the
huge
entire screen
on the screen. Yeah.
And then he picks up the phone, calls her, and says thanks.
Yeah, it is funny.
Yeah, it's very nice.
I think this is like one of the first instances where we see them two, like we saw them in the episode with the dog where they're chasing the dog together, and it kind of seemed like friendly. But this is it seems a little deeper than
this is like best
a friendship
kind of thing. Next we go to the Hill House, the bedroom, and they are sleeping well. 5:48 a.m. The phone rings, and of course Peggy gets it on the first ring.
The first ring. She's like fully dressed, ready to go.
Yeah, she's ready to go. The coach, who we found out's name is
Kleehammer.
Kleehammer. This is his first time.
First time.
It's also Doug's first time. Doug is coming up.
And only time. Yeah. Okay. This is the one and only time you see Doug.
Coach Kleehammer is calling Peggy and says, dust off your gym skirt, Peggy. Gym skirt. That's just so demeaning. Dust off your gym skirt. We need a sub for girls sports. And it just kills me how like methodical she is. Location.
Duration. Did your previous instructor have a lesson plan calendar? Notes on a Post-it?
Yeah, and then he tells her, well, that's sort of a funny story. There is no previous girls coach. We kind of forgot to hire one.
Yeah, which
oh my gosh,
wildly insane, because like I went to a school where like girls track was like a state track team, and they did decent at basketball and stuff like that. So like girls coaches are just, I couldn't imagine. Wow, I mean, like I don't think at the time, even my dad remembers like coaches when he was younger that were women coaches.
Well, I can tell you that I went to a Baptist private school, and girls sports were not really a thing.
Not really a thing.
Nope. And the girls on the basketball team had to play in culottes.
Wow.
Sucked. Yeah. So we get to the morning. They're all getting ready to go. And Hank comes through the kitchen and asks, so where are you stationed today, soldier? Fort Mathematics? And he thinks that's very funny.
Yeah, he does.
She said, no, today I'm teaching gym. And then, boy, everything in Hank changes. He's like, ooh, now that's serious, Peggy. Gym's where a boy learns teamwork and the importance of winning. She says, well, actually, I'm teaching girls gym. Oh, good luck to you.
Yeah, he doesn't even care.
It's just terrible. Yeah, this is one of the times that Hank is not so likable.
Yeah,
until the end.
Yeah, until the end, of course.
But
he doesn't see the error in his ways again until the end of the episode. Like a lot of times, he doesn't learn his lesson. But yeah, a lot of misogyny in this episode. And I guess I grew up in an era, even in the mid '90s, late 90s, early 2000s for school and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I just don't remember a time where there was that much misogyny about gym with guys and girls.
Well, in the Baptist church, there
was girls at our school that were destroying the boys in sports.
Yeah.
You know, some of the guys out there. And there was one guy, I hate to tell the story, I'll leave his name out of it, but Conley had a female lineman or a linebacker or something like that. She was either on defense or offense. I can't remember. She might have played both sides of the ball.
Oh, wow.
But she hit this guy that I'm talking about, and he never lived it down for the rest of his high school life. She made him cry.
Well, that
she blew the wind out of him, and he cried, and he didn't want to line up on that side anymore.
But that dovetails into the thing that Bobby has later on in this episode. You know,
yeah, it does.
Yeah, because they talk about that.
Yeah, they do.
So the next scene we see, we're at school, and this is that day in middle school where all the coaches and all the extracurricular classes get up in the gym, and they say, "Here's why you should be in my class." They're like recruiting kids, right?
Yeah, I remember that in 8th grade. They did that. They sent like a bunch of people over from the high school to try to get you in band and ROTC.
Sure.
And
well, this the first one we see is the basketball coach. This is Doug.
Yeah.
And he says, "Why choose basketball?" That's how it starts.
He just chews on it.
Well, for one thing, the only sport where you get to bounce a ball.
Yeah, you bounce the ball. Well, that's a fumble.
Yeah,
you bounce a
ball in football. That's a fumble. Baseball, no bouncing at all. Bounce a ball in hockey, that's a mandatory drug test right there. So join the basketball team.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. And then Coach Kleehammer comes on, pushing one of those AV carts with a TV on it.
Yep.
Turns it on and shows some actual Olympic type wrestling. This is not WWE. This is not backyard wrestling. This is real.
Yeah, hit the mat wrestling.
Greek.
Yeah.
Greco-Roman wrestling.
Yeah, Greco-Roman. Yeah, I think that's what they call it.
And Bobby and Connie are watching it, and then Connie said, "Ooh, cool." And Bobby goes, "It's a little staged, but it's still pretty good." Like he's a big wrestling connoisseur.
Yeah.
The coach says, "Gentlemen are not trying to win you over with a lot of fancy talk about bouncing," which I think is just a great phrase. I just want you to know one thing. Every kid who shows up to wrestle will earn a place on the team, and right to wear this holds up like a workout jacket.
And then Bobby goes, "Wow, silver piping." In true fashion. Nice. Yeah, in true Bobby fashion.
So he goes off the stage, and here comes Peggy. Peggy Hill, or Coach Hill, as she's calling herself now. We're offering you girls a special program that combines the thrills of wrestling with the skills of basketball and something we're calling General Sports.
General Sports.
I was a sub.
Is it PE?
Well, it's actually a separate class. It can be.
Oh wow.
I was.
What's the deciding factor to separate the two?
So I was a sub at a middle school, and one of the things I had to cover was general sports.
Okay.
General sports means the kids that are not able enough to play basketball or soccer or whatever. I got a lot of kids with My Chemical Romance T-shirts. And things like, those the kids that don't want to be a part of it.
They don't want to be a part of sports. Yeah.
And you basically break out the basketball, the volleyball, whatever, and let them kick it around for 30 minutes or however long the period is. That's really all it is.
So it's just like a free-for-all. Throw them up, beat them up.
It is. That's where you get a lot of dodgeball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You get a lot of dodgeball in general sports.
Well, that should have been, they should make that a competition sport. Dodgeball. There should be dodgeball tournaments for school to school. I think
if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
You can dodge a ball, yeah.
So now we go to the tryouts. Everybody's going to tryouts, and Bobby is kind of standoffish from the wrestling guys, and Connie says, "Go on," pushes him towards the tryouts. And we get the coach over there saying, "I want to start by showing you some basic moves. I just need a volunteer." You there. Didn't wait for anybody to volunteer.
Just pointed right at him,
some kid, and tells him to come at him. And
just come at me. It reminds me of Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
When what's his name, Dietrich, or whatever he's doing. I can't remember his last name. That comedian from does all the Drew Carey stuff. Dietrich something.
Dietrich Bader.
Yeah, Dietrich Bader.
I met him one time.
Oh, you did?
At a Autorama.
Awesome. Is where I met him. Yeah, that's where I'd imagine to meet him at. Yeah. Right. But it kind of reminds me of that when he was he told Napoleon Dynamite,
"Yeah,
grab my wrist." Yeah.
That's right.
Break my wrist. Yeah.
There's a great movie. It's called I think it's Power of the Foot. It's Danny McBride.
Oh yeah, if it's got him in it, it's funny.
As like a kung fu instructor.
Oh yeah,
that's just like down on his luck and stuff. It's really early in his career, but it's really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find that.
So he tells this kid to come at him, and then says, "That's a single center step, single leg attack. Now, what are you gonna do, huh? Now, big man, you gonna dump me, huh? You gonna pin me? I'll teach you to pull a knife on me." This poor kid is so confused at this point.
Yeah, this guy went left.
My favorite part is where he goes, "You hopping around all day, huh, Hoppy?" And you can hear the kid go, "What?
What?" Yeah, he said that'll teach you to pull a knife on me. Hard to stop a guy when you're hopping around all day. That guy's nuts.
Then we see Peggy over with her General Sports girls, and she is starting to see that there's not near as much importance put on girls' sports as there is the boys' sports.
And it's funny, and it's funny because she wasn't even wholly aware that was still a thing.
No, she did not really realize this was a thing.
Yeah.
She got that first inclination from Hank, but that's Hank. And then now she's seeing that everybody's kind of
they don't really
down
care
on it. Yeah, she literally picks up the basketball and it's all deflated, and then
she tries to bounce it. Yeah, she bounces this like half inflated ball.
It looks like a watermelon or something. Whatever it bounces. We go back to the alleyway with the boys, and they're talking about Eddie Tucker.
Yeah, I hear Eddie Tucker started Pat. That's such a, just that when I heard it, I paused it for a second and I'm like, man, I can swear I've heard like my dad and his buddies saying something similar about somebody. Oh, I hear old so-and-so's down there cutting down that big oak.
Yep, that's
just
exactly
stuff
right.
Like that.
Yeah, that's all you have to talk about sometimes. Yeah. They're talking about Eddie Tucker patching his driveway, and Hank says, where'd he get his asphalt? And Dale says Johnson's. And literally Hank spits his beer out. So I don't know what's wrong with Johnson's, but they don't have good asphalt, apparently.
No.
Up comes Bobby on his bike. Dad, guess what? I joined a team. And Hank says, a sports team? He says, wrestling. It's the best sport ever, Dad. There's no running.
Yeah. They said, there's no running. Way to go, boy. Wrestling's a damn fine sport. Hell, it's an Olympic sport. And he's like, that's not, that's one of my favorites too. He says, this is offered through the school, right? Not some guy in a van with a camcorder.
Bobby says, it's a real thing, and I'm in a very advanced weight class.
Yeah, that line killed me too. That was a bunch of good lines.
And Hank says, you hear that, guys? Bobby made a school team today without me even being the coach.
That's
everybody's
funny.
like, congratulations, Hank.
Yeah, congratulations,
They don't say anything
Hank.
to Bobby. They're like, congratulations, Hank. All right, and then next we're at the principal's office at Tom Landry Middle School. Peggy and Dooley are sitting outside waiting to talk to the principal, and Dooley, which
Stewart,
I didn't realize that Dooley was Mike Judge, but it is.
Oh, that's Mike Judge's voice.
Yeah. He says, "What are you here for?" She says, and I love how she knows his name. She's like, well, Dooley, a preteen girl is like a skinny little tree about to enter the hurricane of adolescence. If we don't protect and nurture this little tree, before you know it, she'll be bitter and pregnant.
Yeah.
For that reason, I'm asking the principal for a new basketball for the girls. A new basketball. One. She just wants one new basketball for the girls. And Dooley responds with, I peed in some kid's locker.
Yeah, I peed in some kid's locker. It kind of, when you listen to him, I can kind of hear Beavis and Butthead a little bit in his voice.
Very much so. And she goes in, she doesn't get what she wants, and when she comes out, he's like, girls' sports are a joke.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy. I mean,
he says some, his little one-liners are great. I love Stuart Dooley's one-liners.
Your dad's unemployed.
Yeah, your dad's unemployed. Your dad sells propane.
Your dad sells propane.
Yeah.
So we're back at the Hill House, and Hank says he can Jim Jangle his schedule a bit.
That's a country that's Southern as hell. Yeah, if I could just Jimmy Jangle my schedule here a little bit.
Right. He says that he can make it to all of Bobby's practices, and then he responds to himself with, "What a great time in a boy's father's life."
Yeah, just that sentence, like Hank is off his head.
And then here's a talk that they've had before. Obviously, Peggy says, Hank, what if Bobby was a girl? And Hank's like, well, that's just it,
I
Peggy.
don't think we have to worry about that anymore. Yeah,
anymore.
Like, question
it's
it.
the crazy part.
Question it. That is nuts. Just the things that Hank thinks about his kid, man.
I don't think we have to worry about that anymore.
You know, I saw this poll, I think it was, where they were asking, does Hank love his family more or Lady Bird more? And I think Lady Bird won by like 30%.
Oh, my God. The word anymore just killed me there. Peggy responds with, do you know what that principal said when I asked for more basketballs for the girls? Now it's plural. He said that the money was earmarked to put holograms on tickets to the football games. Hank, of course, can
prevent ticket fraud.
Hank can see the
he sees the value of
value in this. Yeah,
the odd value, but there's value.
He says they prevent ticket fraud. Peggy.
I just want to know who's frauding high school tickets.
I don't know.
And
I don't think that's a thing.
Why are they sick if they're frauding high school tickets? Like,
there's a lot
if you could print it off
people.
and make it, like, why would that be a sick thing? Yeah, I don't know. They're crazy.
So Peggy has a little bit of a flashback to when she was a little girl.
Yes, she does. Back to her
and she knocks the crap out of a ball. And this is a baseball.
Yeah,
right?
she's hitting a baseball.
She's just kind of hanging out while the boys are playing baseball. She knocks the crap out of it. The coach comes back and says, can you run as well as you hit? And she says, yes, sir, I sure can. She's so peppy, right?
Oh, it was funny.
And then the coach just demolishes her with, well, then you can run over to the store and get these boys some soda pop. That a girl. And then we're back to current time, and Hank's like, yep, boys sure do love soda pop. We got to make sure we get some of that for Bobby's practices. Man, he's not understanding what's going on at all.
It's not clicking. It's not registered one bit with Hank yet. No.
So next scene, Bobby is in his tidy whities, his little egg body, and he's in the mirror making, strong arms and
flexing out.
And in comes Hank. Says, "Looking good, son." And of course, Bobby responds with, "You too, Dad." I don't know what that means, but okay. He says, I wanted to give you this before practice. And my favorite part of this is Hank is bringing a athletic cup to his Bobby,
son.
Right?
Like who passes down athletic cups? But
my favorite part is the fact that it's in a Crown Royal bag.
You know how else you can protect your balls?
Yeah.
With
Ballsy.
Yeah.
But that Crown Royal bag thing, that is a very Southern thing as well.
Oh, the Crown Royal bag?
You hang on to the bag.
Full of change or drugs.
Right.
There's no in
exactly
between.
What that is. Yeah.
It's either change or drugs.
Yeah. I just love that little nod to the fact that everybody has a Crown
Royal bag.
Yeah,
that's funny. Yeah, we're all alcoholics in the South.
He says, I wanted to give you this before practice. Hands him the Crown Royal bag, and he goes, you might not be here if it weren't for this cup. It's made from the finest American steel ever to come out of Pittsburgh, PA. This used to be mine, and before it was your grandfather's. Gross. Number one.
A metal cup, too. That just doesn't feel like that would even feel comfortable at all.
But to Bobby's credit, he says, there's holes in it. How am I supposed to drink out of this? And Hank's like, oh, God, come on. I got to explain this to this kid. And he goes, I got you. So they both enjoy a hearty laugh. We are back at the school gym. And Peggy is trying her hardest to get these girls to play basketball with what they've got.
Yeah.
They've got these damn deflated balls.
And I'll give it to her. She's out there giving it a full,
rhythm, girls. First you blow, effort. Then you throw. So they have to literally put their mouth on the spout, and try to blow up the ball, then pass it. Yeah. That's just the craziest thing. And then to see the complete opposite of that, we go over to where Bobby's at, and he's basically cheerleading. Hit him high, hit him low, Landry, go, go, go. And the coach is like, good spirit, Hill. And he says, can I have some Gatorade now? He says, sure, kid, you're sweating plenty. Yeah. So that is the gigantic difference between the two. The girls are over there trying their hardest with something that's never going to work.
Never.
And then the boys are over there just screwing around.
Yeah, that's it.
That's unfortunate because that happens a lot.
That happens a whole lot.
Connie and Bobby meet over at the Gatorade, and he says, hey, Connie, how's it going? She says, not so good, and tries to blow up a basketball with her lips. Says, I just found out we're not getting uniforms, which, good God, by by the way. Yeah, and then Bobby responds with, "You're better off. We have home uniforms,
away uniforms."
Tells her it's confusing.
Alternate home, alternate away.
Yeah. Yeah. And she says, did you learn the pile driver yet? She asked him. And he said, that's not really a wrestling move. Wrestling is about holds. And then he proceeds to tell her about all the locks. You got your head locks, your leg locks, belly locks. If you got it, we'll lock it.
Yeah.
And then he tries to show Connie what that means. And so he tells her to come over here. She says, oh, cool.
He puts her in a lock and she slips it. After he tells her, he says, there's no way out. Try.
And she just slips right out and goes, you mean like that?
And he said, no, you didn't use real wrestling. If you use wrestling, it's impossible to get out. But good try.
He's like pat her on the head at the end. Good try, girl.
That's wrestling. She slipped in.
It's rough, man. And then we're still in the gym. Now Peggy has been asked to meet with two coaches. That is, what'd you say, Kleehammer?
Kleehammer, yeah.
Kleehammer and Doug. Doug being the basketball coach. Kleehammer is saying, hell, Doug here needs some extra room to scrimmage. So can you run a posture drill? A posture drill. How friggin' demeaning.
Oh yeah. Also, on the boys wrestling team.
Yeah.
That's the first time you see Clark Peters. He's not named.
Oh, yeah.
So his hair slicked back.
Yeah.
That's the first time we meet him, but he doesn't get a name. We don't get his name or anything
kind of a
right here.
Chunkier
All
kid,
you get is
Peters.
Peters. The one that mouth wears, like he talks through his nose.
Yeah. And he's always got like a little
he's shaved on the sides with his
ponytail
hair,
kind of thing.
And he's shaved on the sides or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a Bobby look-alike, like a tall Bobby
really
almost. Yeah.
Like a little rougher Bobby.
Yeah.
He asked her to do a posture drill to get the girls up against the wall, which, okay. She says, no, I'm afraid I cannot. I am teaching general sports here. I need a general area. So the coach responds to, oh, yeah, general sports was something Doug here came up with. It's like home economics, sort of a code word for busy work.
Busy work. But
the one thing general sports was not meant to do, and Doug can back me up on this, is take up space, which sends Peggy into a tizzy. She says, okay, then I'm expanding my needs. General sports is now total sports, and I need the whole gym and all the equipment, and Doug can back me up on that. And so they kick her out.
Yeah.
Her and all her girls, they kick them out. And we see Peggy trying to blow up a ball again with her mouth, and Connie comes over and just tells her, it's okay, Mrs. Hill, it's over. Maybe sports wasn't such a good idea. Maybe I should do yearbook instead or chess club.
This is one of my favorite lines right here. So so now that Connie said all that, sports not being a good idea and stuff, Peggy goes, yearbook is a shameful, squalid waste of time.
Yeah, she just basically tells her, you just tell me what sport you want to play, and I'll make sure
she's going to make sure she plays it. And this is where I remember there was, like I said, that Conley football player that was a girl, and she was out there whooping some of them boys up. Yeah.
Well, you got a lot to prove. Unfortunately, they have a ton to prove. And so she tells her that she wants to wrestle. She asked her, what if it's not a girls' sport?
Yeah, there's no such thing as boys or girls sports, which is a huge argument that's going on right now for sure.
And so she tells her she wants to wrestle, and Peggy's like, well, then we'll show those coaches there's nothing a boy can do that a girl can't do. And then, we see Bobby.
Yeah.
And he's over there testing out his cup, having his friends punch him in the groin.
Punch him in the groin
which
area.
Is a wonderful way. Yeah. So that is a commercial break. We will be right back.
From the host of the popular podcast, The Only One in the Room, Stash by Laura Cathcart Robbins is a propulsive and vivid memoir about the journey to sobriety and self-love amidst addiction, privilege, racism, and self-sabotage. Best-selling author Holly Whitaker calls it an irresistibly delicious story, and MacArthur Foundation fellow and best-selling author Kiese Lehman says Stash is emotionally riveting. Buy Stash by Laura Cathcart Robbins now, wherever books are sold.
Looking to start a business? You'll need a registered agent to receive legal notices and documents on your behalf. Look no further than Universal Registered Agents. Our team of professionals will ensure you never miss an important document, and we can even help you form your business with services like entity formation and document filing. Plus, we'll help you switch to our service for a lower cost and pay the change fees. Trust Universal Registered Agents to help your business succeed. Contact us today to learn more.
This episode is sponsored by State Farm. Buying insurance can be complicated, and you might have a lot of questions, like, what if my policy doesn't cover that? Or, What if I need to make a claim in the middle of the night? Good news, State Farm is there for all your what-ifs. You can reach them 24/7, talk through any questions with your agent, and you can even file a claim on the State Farm mobile app. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com to get a quote today.
The world looks different behind the handlebars of a Rad electric bike. Grabbing takeout looks less like greasy styrofoam boxes and more like a cross-town adventure. Ride shares look less like piling into the back of a car and more like grabbing fresh air with your friends. And commuting can even start to look like the best part of your day. That's because with Rad, the world is what you make of it, not what it makes of you. See for yourself with a 14-day free trial. Find your fun at radpowerbikes.com.
It is summertime here in Central Texas, and I don't know about you, but I am already sweating.
Oh, yeah. I've got swamp ass and ball sweat more than I know what to do with. And, if it wasn't for Ballsy and their products,
Ballsy,
I'm sure right now I'd be able to smell my own balls. So I'm really, thankful for their products.
Yeah, your cleanliness is a reflection of you, especially below the belt. And, I think about cleanliness a lot because, like, I've got a beard. I've had one for a long time. You've got one. But I never really think about taking care of my down under as I do my face.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't think that a lot of people, think about keeping their balls clean and fresh.
No.
I think that's an endemic in males is keeping our groin area clean.
Yeah, because, it's no secret that balls are prone to odor, sweat, irritation. So you need something like Ballsy.
Yeah, so guys, you need to upgrade your balls game with Ballsy. Yep. They've got quality, long-lasting products formulated to keep you fresh, comfortable, and confident. And for me, I tried out the Ballsy trimmer, the beard trimmer part of it. I shaved my mustache with it.
That's the cool thing. It comes with both
heads.
It
comes with both heads.
So it's not like you have to use the same head on your face as you do your intimate regions.
Yeah, your intimate regions.
Yeah.
So they got your sack covered with a ball wash, sack spray, and more. And I'll attest to the ball wash. My balls have never smelled cleaner and felt fresher ever in the entirety of my life. So
yeah, I took a small sample of friends and family, and they said my balls smelled wonderful.
Well, that's good. Yeah, that's good. My dog told me.
It was uncomfortable after that.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Yeah. So, when you go to Ballsy, you can get different things like you can take a quiz to see where to start. They have a sack pack. The sack pack has all of it. It's the ultimate
trifecta.
It is the ultimate trifecta of products specially formulated to take care of your most prized possessions, which should be your balls.
And the big thing is it is made right here in the U.S. of A.
In the U.S. of A. That's right. And it always will be.
Always will be.
Or so tell the people at Ballsy.
Or so says Ballsy.
So
and
says
they
Ballsy.
have over 200,000 currently satisfied customers with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you've got to give it a try.
Yeah.
There's no risks involved.
Yeah.
And the only thing that could happen out of this is clean, fresh balls.
That's what I'm saying, right? So what you need to do is go to ballwash.com, put in promo code KOTH, as in King of the Hill. So ballwash.com, promo code KOTH, and you'll receive 20% off your order of $50 or more. That's 20% off when you go to ballwash.com and put in promo code KOTH. So says Ballsy.
Balls.
Hey, Rusty.
Hey, Mike.
Your dog deserves tasty, healthy, real food, not kibble. Don't give him kibble.
No, I like to give my dog food that's created by a vet that exceeds all industry standards.
There you
Fresh
go.
dog food, stable life. A stable shelf life and affordable. This food here, Sundays for Dogs, Mike. It's
Sundays for Dogs.
It's 40% less expensive than leading fresh brands.
Yeah, and it's like you say, it's created by a vet. It's shelf stable, which I don't get those dog foods that are in the freezer and refrigerator and stuff. That just seems like a lot. I've got a friend of mine who makes his own cat food, which is weird. But
it's especially weird when you could get it from Sundays for Dogs.
That's what I'm saying, right? He's got cats, so he's weird anyway. But
he could feed it Sundays for Dogs.
Feed his cats to Sundays for Dogs?
It's created by a vet. It's fresh dog food. It's customized for dog size, breed, and activity level. So all he has to do is take a quick quiz and see if it's right for his pup.
Yeah, you just go to sundaysfordogs.com. You take the quiz. Best part about all this, well, let me tell you about some of the benefits first. You're going to get increased excitement from your dog about eating, which my dogs are not super excited about eating because I buy them junk, but not anymore. You'll get better stool, which, if your dogs stay outside all day, that's a big deal. You'll get more energy out of your dogs, improve weight, softer coat, just a better life for your dogs if you feed them this
my
stuff.
dog loves it. It's real easy for her to eat. She's an older dog, but it's really easy for her to eat. And
she's 104.
She's 104, yes. Right. And the fact
not
that
in
it's
dog years,
not in dog years, in human years. Yeah, she's extremely, extremely old, and I think it's due to eating Sundays for dogs.
Sure.
Which the quality ingredients are really good for her health. The crap they put in, a lot of the store brand stuff is just junk for them. Yeah. And a lot of filler and stuff like that.
It's like feeding your kid Doritos all day.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like a bag of Doritos.
That kid's going to stop up at some point.
And Sundays for dogs is like a bag of carrots with...
It is. It's like carrots and real meat and things like
good
that.
Stuff.
Yeah. If you go to sundaysfordogs.com and take that quiz and figure out the right plan for your pup, the best part about that is you can get 35% off your first order if you use the code KOTH, as in King of the Hill, KOTH, and you'll get 35% off your order.
Wow, 35%.
That's a big deal.
That
most of these things you hear is 10%, but for this one, you go to sundaysfordogs.com, enter KOTH as the code, and get 35% off.
Yeah, that's greght.
Woof.
Watch us fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas.
All right, we are back. We are in the gym now, and for some reason, Hank and Dale are there. Boomhauer.
Yeah,
are
Boomhauer.
There. And he says, look at that, big in a blanket. My Bobby's the chef, not the weenie. And so they've got this kid rolled up in one of those play mats, and there's two kids just pounding on it, which, again, great use of time, for these kids that are supposedly in a sport.
Yeah.
We get the whistle, and the coach is telling, all right, ladies, hit the showers, which again is demeaning because he's talking to the boys.
Yeah.
And he said, but I do like this part though. He
goes,
no Oklahoma car washes. Get your hair wet.
Yeah. That's a good one. I've heard of taking Hollywood showers, but I've never heard of the Oklahoma car wash.
Oklahoma car wash.
That's great.
We are back in the coach's office, and he comes in not knowing that Peggy's already in his office, chunks his hat across the room, and Peggy just catches it, which I thought was kind of cool, and then she puts it down on his desk.
Yeah, she's very athletic.
And then one of the most demeaning thing I think that's said throughout this whole thing, he goes, "What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be teaching the girls about their monthlies?" My goodness.
Yeah, that's true.
You do that these days, somebody's getting reported.
Oh, you're out of there. Yeah, you're out of there.
Peggy's like, "No, not today, Coach. Today I'm teaching a lesson in fairness. I have someone here who'd like to join the wrestling team, and her name is Con Sousa Nusaphone Jr."
That can't be her real name.
And then he says, "Does she speak the English language?" Which, again, this dude's rough, man.
That is kind of rough. And that's funny that they have this joke in there. I mean,
and not only that, Peggy responds with, "Well, of course she speaks English." And he says, "Well, then tell her wrestling's a boys' sport and that's final."
I try to cancel.
Standing there.
Yeah, try to cancel King of the Hill. I dare you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you couldn't. Yeah, so, that nowadays would be.
Oh,
and I imagine that Mike Judge doesn't care too much about like the cancel thing because
no, I wouldn't think so.
He did. If you watch Beavis and Butthead, there's. Especially the movie has this whole bit where they learn about white privilege.
Oh, really?
And they run around just causing mayhem in the movie, saying, and they're like, "Oh, it's okay, I've got white privilege. I can do whatever I want," kind of thing. It was great.
So this is where Peggy gets really riled up. She says, "Oh, no, it's not." Talking about how the wrestling's a boys' sport.
Yeah.
She says, Title IX of the Civil Rights Act clearly prohibits sex discrimination in public schools and guarantees equal athletic opportunities for all boys and girls. And
this line, the coach again, well, he's full of one-liners. He said, Roe versus Wade doesn't apply to my wrestling team.
And so Peggy responds with, "Oh, I think you'll find it does apply. Come on, Connie." And of course, Connie's like, "Mrs. Hill, Roe versus Wade isn't." And Peggy kind of stops her.
You have to pick your battles.
Yeah. And that's absolutely, unfortunately true. Next scene, we end up over at Con's house. So Min is saying, it's nice of you to come by, Peggy Hill. You can stay until you finish your Zinfandel, which I think is it's a wonderful quote. But she says, but wrestling's boys sport. There's a little Freudian slip for you there. I said wrestling's a balls sport.
A ball sport. Ballsy. Wrestling is a sport where you should use ballsy so they don't have to sniff your balls.
She says Connie might get hurt. And then Peggy responds with, oh, boys are given the opportunity to get hurt all the time. Connie deserves the same chance, which is a weird argument.
It is a weird argument. But he is all about her, being equal.
And then Con comes back and says, if Connie gonna get a workout, she should do it up here, pointing at her brain. Says should build mental toughness to get into a good college, hire former wrestlers to pay for driveway.
Yeah.
And Connie says, Dad, maybe being on the wrestling team can help me get into Harvard, and talks about how disappointed he was with her application essay. He said, my first draft lacked life experience. She's like 9. I mean, how much life experience she got? Kids. And Min responds with, she's right. Connie can play violin, sculpt with metal, and speak 3 languages. But what sets her apart?
I thought being the smartest person in Texas set her apart, but maybe that's not enough.
So funny. So they are back at the principal's office now. Yep. And Peggy is telling them why this should be a thing. She says, I'm sure wrestling will have a wonderful effect on Connie. Ever since my Bobby joined the team, I've seen marked improvements in his social skills and in his balance. His
balance.
So we get the coach realizing, oh, crap, Bobby Hill's your son. And to which Con responds with, very good. You follow a trail of clues that start with the same last name. Where you get this guy, Scotland Yard?
I feel bad. I feel bad for him now.
And then another one of my favorite parts is where the principal, and what's the principal's name?
Oh, what is the principal's name? Principal. Carl Moss.
Carl Moss. Principal Moss. He says, Mr. Susaposon,
Yeah, Mr. Susaposon.
He says, I'm sure there's a simple solution to all this. Perhaps you could persuade your lovely little gal to take gymnastics. And I think the principal's getting fired over this. Says Asian girls usually excel at gymnastics. I mean, with their tiny little feet, balance beam seems like wide as a sidewalk.
Oh, yeah.
My God.
Yeah, there was a lot of crazy lines in this.
And so Con asks Con Jr., you want to take gymnastics? She says, gymnastic blows. He says, you heard her. If my girl doesn't wrestle, I'll show you who put the Sue in Susan phone, which I thought was a great quote for Con, honestly.
Yeah.
Then we go back to Bobby holding court with all of his wrestling buddies, and he's regaling them on the fact that cherry is strictly an after-wrestling Gatorade, but lemon lime is good anytime, which is really ridiculous. Here comes the coach. He's got some bad news. He says, all right, Tinkerbells, again, but they probably couldn't get away with that now. All right, Tinkerbells, listen up. We got a situation here. The girls' gym sub, Peggy, has a bee in her bonnet. Again, he says about co-eding our team. Long story short, we got a gal on deck. They all grunt and groan. He says, I know, but there's nothing we can do. It all goes back to Title IX. And then he says,
Dick Nixon's biggest mistake. I'm sure there was bigger mistakes.
And then he said, oh, definitely. He says, a little Watergate thing. He says, now I know I told you there's a place on this team for all comers, but now I'm not so sure everybody's going to make the team. And all the boys are just crestfallen.
Yep.
So he's immediately placing blame on Peggy and Connie, which is so unfair.
Immediately placing blame.
Yeah, it's just so unfair. Now we're obviously after school. Bobby is squatted down trying to get his bike lock off. Connie is so excited. She comes up and says, hey, Bobby, did you hear? Your mom's going to get me on the wrestling team. Now we can hang out all afternoon, and my mom won't care because it's practice.
Yeah, then Bobby starts snapping because
Bobby's pissed.
I think that, well, not only is he pissed because he's been singled out, but I think he knows in his mind that
he's not the best one.
If he's going to have to wrestle Con, he's probably going to lose.
Well, I think he thinks he's going to lose in general because he can't make a sports team, you know?
Well, not only that, but he knows that, I think he knows deep down that he'll probably get his ass whipped by Connie.
Sure. He snaps back at her and tells her to be quiet because he can't remember his combination when she's talking. She says, okay.
Snaps.
And then she stands there kind of waiting for him because, I mean, this is her best friend, you know? And he says, this could take a while. And so she ends up just, okay. And riding away, which is kind of sad.
That was a mean a mean part.
We're back in the alley with the boys. Bobby comes riding up, and he says, Mom made the coach take Connie on the wrestling team, and now he's out to get me.
And then Hank goes, oh, no, we were so close.
So close. And then it's all well and good to talk about equal rights until some man loses his job. Bobby says, yeah, and it's worse when they take away our favors because we're used to getting them. Jeez. Bill,
this is a
Bill
wild
is the
episode,
only one that has any common sense here, and it's still creepy common sense because Bill fires back with, now, hold on, Hank. I'm all for ladies wrestling except when they do it in pudding. That's just demeaning to the human beings who make pudding. Dale comes back and tells him it's demeaning to, ever since they had that big women's conference in Beijing, co-ed sports has been the number 2 priority on the list.
International Feminine Agenda.
He says, you want to know what the number 1 priority is? Hank's like, oh, God, please not now. He says co-ed bathrooms, and then informs everybody that it'll be a cold day in hell before he institutes those in the Gribble home.
Yeah, which makes me laugh.
So he and Nancy have separate bathrooms.
Separate bathrooms.
Just found out. Yeah.
Well, I think that's by her design, not his.
Oh, I would imagine.
She keeps the boys in one restroom so she doesn't have to sit on pissed on seats in the middle of the night.
I would imagine that. Yeah, I can't imagine there's a whole lot of seat putting down in that.
Yeah,
house.
no, I imagine Dale Gribble's the kind of guy that like pisses all down the back of the toilet and stuff.
Oh, gross. So we are back in the gym, and Hank is there, and he's like, Bobby was on the verge of getting a nickname. I thought you were keeping him busy teaching the girls, or I thought you were keeping busy teaching the girls how to blow up basketballs. He's talking to Peggy.
This whole episode is just filled with just shade.
He said, when did this turn into a desire to ruin wrestling? And she says, oh, give me a break. I don't see why having a girl on the team would ruin it. Did a woman judge ruin the Supreme Court? Huh? He says, yes. And that woman's name was Earl Warren. God. My Lord.
There you go. Here's another one too. Take a seat, debutantes.
Yeah, this is the coach talking to him saying, take a seat, debutantes.
I've never met a coach that
didn't talk like that.
Well, not only didn't talk like that, but could continue to come up with things so new and inventive, like new ways to talk shit to you. Like they would come up with and I was never like actively in sports, but like I had a lot of coaches' classes, and they generally ran their classes the same way, kind of thing. And there was
I did 2-a-days for football, and then I played in one game. I was offside 6 times. So I was like, yeah, I think I'm not going to do this anymore. So that was the extent of my sports. That was pretty much it. That and kickball. So the coach is making announcements here. He says, because of unprecedented interest in wrestling this year, I decided to hold tryouts on Friday. Instead of a guaranteed spot on the team, this year it'll be based on ability. Everybody sighs and groans, and he goes, I know it isn't fair. Well, no, that is fair. That is the fair way to do it. You have tryouts, right? He said, but apparently that's what some people like to call progress. First match, and so now he's laying out all these matches. And again, he's learned that Bobby is Peggy's son. He says, first match, Kaiser versus Gutierrez. Then you get Fino versus McJimsey. And then the last one, Susan Newsenphone versus Hill. And then you get
a bunch
5
of
gasps right in a row. You get Bobby gasp, you get a Con gasp, you get a Hank gasp, you get a Peggy gasp, and then you get the coach with so he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he set it up. Well, and that's the thing. That's where now they put those two together, and she already slipped him once, and they weren't even really wrestling.
Right.
So I think
I think Bobby's pretty worried about this at this point.
Bobby might be worried about it.
So
not only is Bobby worried about it, I think that everybody's genuinely worried about it. It's different. I think they don't mind him losing to a boy, but him losing to another, losing to a little girl or whatever.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
That's a whole different.
And I think everybody's
realm of shame.
I think everybody's pretty worried that he is going to lose to her.
Yeah.
And so now we're back outside the Con household, and he said, "This is men talking." She says, "You got her into this, Peggy Hill. You can't abandon Connie now. She needs help. She needs training." And Peggy is really broken up because she's like,
she said that she feels responsible because Connie is picking up the softball bat that was ripped out of her hands when she was a girl.
Yeah.
And then she's like, but Bobby's my only son. I don't know if I could choose Connie. Yeah. But Bobby's my only, that's not my problem. Choose Connie. What do I do? Choose Connie.
I just like how she's like, Oh, choose Connie. Choose Connie. She's just trying to convince her,
Choose Connie.
Choose Connie.
Yeah.
And then we see men out there with Luann practicing wrestling because she's trying to show Connie what to do.
Yeah.
And she says that they're going to try the outside ankle breakdown. And Luann she just puts her right in a headlock, man. She's got her like almost immediately. Yeah. And then,
she is a mechanic.
She's an everything.
And so she's got pretty strong arms.
She's great with her hands, yeah. And then we pan out a little bit, and Bill's over there just kind of watching them, going, It's super freaking creepy.
He's being a little weird.
Hank catches him and goes, Bill, for crying out loud. He says, I was just listening. So they talk to Bobby about how wrestling a girl's a tough one. If you win, this is the boys talking to Bobby. If you win, you get the shame of having beat up a girl. If you lose, you just better hope she snaps your neck. That's the quickest way.
That's the quickest way.
Boomhauer's like, yeah, man, dang if you don't. Have you ever heard the story from Mike Judge about how Boomhauer came about?
Yeah, the guy called him on the phone and
Porky's
left
butthole.
Yeah, Porky's butthole. Dang old Porky's butthole.
Butthole.
Yeah.
And so he says, danged if you do, danged if you don't. And then Bobby is, Dad, what am I going to do? I'm danged here. I'm royally danged.
Yeah.
So Hank has a plan to get Bobby ready for this match. And
and this is, I don't know if any of you guys have had a dad who tried to live vicariously through you. If you've ever experienced your dad putting a rug on you or a piece of carpet and wetting it, let me know. Let us know. Hit me up. I would love to have you on the show to talk about that.
It's got to smell. It's got to be terrible. So he's got Bobby rolled up in a carpet. And he says, now the key to wrestling is the ability to explode. So the way I figure it, if you can explode your way out from underneath this piece of wet carpet, you can beat any 12-year-old in the county. All right, here we go. And he goes 1, 2, 3, and he just starts spraying the carpet down.
Explode, boy. Come on.
Hey, he's telling me,
Bobby, light the fuse.
You're a keg of dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got him where you want him.
Bobby does not get out of that carpet.
Time to really explode. Keg of dynamite. Yeah, he couldn't even... he couldn't even handle it.
So we're back at Tom Landry Middle School. It is obviously lunchtime. Everybody's in line.
All the boys are walking up to him.
And this is, what'd you say his name was?
Clark Peters.
This is Clark Peters, comes up to Bobby and says...
He's the one that gets kicked in the nuts.
Yes. He says, a bunch of us decided that if you don't beat that girl tomorrow, we don't know what we'll do. Yeah. So you better beat her. And Bobby... You better beat her. Bobby responds with, guys, there's no way I can lose. I'm in the best shape of my life. In the best shape of my life. Okay.
Well, it's true. He is round. That might have been the best shape he's ever been.
He's round. And then...
I couldn't say he's square because Bobby smokes cigarettes and drinks beer, and he's a little wild for a 12-year-old.
And then Clark is like, hey, there she is. Watch this. How you doing, Connie? He goes up and he puts a sign on her back, and it says Connie the Barbarian, which is just terrible.
Oh, well, I thought that was actually clever, though.
I mean,
thought that
is
was
clever.
Really it's terrible, but I thought it was rough.
Yeah.
I thought it was a clever joke from the writers. Yeah, I mean, it would be mean as hell to do to a kid, but and she's not even like... barbarian-like.
No,
she's not like this big, huge, towering.
No, she's just a girl. That makes her different. Yeah. So we're back at the Kahn household and Susan Newsenbone household, and Connie is kind of begging with Kahn. She says, "Can we please just forget I ever said anything about this stupid wrestling thing?" Kahn's like, "What? No, I go out on a giant limb for you, Kahn Jr. If you lose, you no longer my son, my son." And so she starts crying. Then we show for the first time that I know of, the Arlen Fun Center. And we hear this whirring, and she's
mashing
a drunk ass Peggy
shit out of the ball,
just wailing on these balls,
and she's not missing. Now I've been to batting cages and I've hit fast balls in batting cages, and I miss more than I hit, and she is literally hitting every ball. She's in the fast cage too, so she's probably getting like 80, 90 mile an hour balls.
This is our first drunk Peggy too.
Yeah,
right?
First drunk Peggy. I think first drunk character maybe in the whole show is right here.
Yeah, she's just kind of taking out her aggression on it, and she's saying stuff like, "Why don't you edit the yearbook, Peggy?" and then hits a ball. "You're so good with paste and scissors, Peggy," and then hits a ball. Oh, yeah, your arms are so strong. Why don't you stir punch at the prom?
I like this part. Luann, quarters.
she runs out of balls.
Screams it.
And then just takes that bat and just starts wailing on the fence.
Yeah,
I mean, she is something else.
She is, and I think that's why like her and Hank are able to work out so well because she don't put up with nothing.
Sure. Now this part confuses me. Her and Luann take a cab back to the house. Can Luann not drive? I guess she said she was working on it, right? In a couple episodes
maybe
ago.
She couldn't drive or she was drunk too.
Could be. Anyway, they take a cab back.
That's what
home.
I assumed. I assumed they both started drinking by the end of it and sobbing, and she just decided to drive a cab home.
But they get out of the cab, and she's having to prop up Peggy because Peggy is just sauced.
Yeah, she's pretty mad.
And she says, "I'm sorry, little Jeffrey,"
which is where we find out that was Bobby's real name. Yeah. His real name is supposed to be Jeffrey, but his name is Bobby Jeffrey.
Luann correct. Is it really?
Yes, his middle name is Jeffrey.
Okay. She Luann corrects him, says, "Oh, that's Bobby." She goes, "Oh yeah, I wanted to call him Jeffrey, but some man wouldn't let me."
Yeah.
She says, "You mean Uncle Hank?"
Well, if it's up to my dad, my name would have been Randy.
Oh yeah,
on accident though.
Oh
yeah.
So we are at the Hill House, and Bobby is kind of tossing in his bed because he doesn't want to wrestle Con, and so he can't sleep. He gets up out of bed and he trips over the Sergeant Gorgeous video game, and then you see him look across over at Con's house, and Con's got like her head down on the table, and he waves at her. And by the way, this is the Sergeant Gorgeous all-man body slam game.
Okay. That's a name.
Body slam game. And so now
all-man body slam game?
Body slam game, yeah. So we're back in the gym, and Con is over there yelling from the stands, "Remember, take old Playmate down hard and fast. Mom capture everything on video camera, including Harvard application." So he's going to use this as part of her application to get into college, even though she's 12.
Yeah.
And Connie says,
I've never
"I'm not
seen
even
somebody
in high
prepping
school."
so young. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. She said, "Dad, I'm not even in high school." He said, "You never get there with that attitude." That has nothing to do with it, but all right. The coach shouts out, "Your next hill. I just wish your mom was here to see you," and kind of chuckles.
Yeah.
And he says she wanted to be here, but she had to sleep in.
She was hungover.
So obviously Peggy is super hungover. Yeah, because she doesn't miss Bobby's
So this is the funny thing here. This is another line that I really, really liked from Hank. He goes, "Son, I know everyone's been filling your head with crazy stuff, but I just want you to know this. Connie killed your frog." And then he like pushes him towards the ring.
Pushes him out. So here it goes. Bobby versus Connie. They start wrestling, and then you see that their plan is coming to fruition here.
Yeah, because like what I first thought was going to happen was like watching it, I already knew what was going to happen. But if I was watching it for the first time again, when I first ever saw this episode, I thought that she was going to roll him. She was just going to flip him and pin him, and that'd be the end of it. And then Bobby would be humiliated, and I didn't know what the lesson would, because every show's got a little tidbit of something at the end of it. So I thought there would be something like that. And then what they ended up doing was just
they start with their WWE type.
They started
wrestling.
Doing all the in this area at this time, I think they were still the WWF.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
but there's a pile driver. There's a chair to the back.
Yeah, they started doing all all the, what's it called? K-fob or K-fabe or something like that is what it's called. The act of like fake doing it is called like K-fob or something like that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, one of the guys that I work with listens to Jim Cornette's podcast every day. It's like 3 hours. So while we're working, I have to sit here and listen to 3 hours of Jim Cornette.
Wow. The coach is like, "What the hell is going on here? That's not Olympic style wrestling." And then Clark Peters is like, "No, that's real wrestling." Yeah. And they obviously.
I wonder if Clark Peters is voiced by.
Oh, I don't know who he's voiced by.
I wonder if he's voiced by Mike Judge.
But
Pamela Adlon. He's actually voiced by Bobby.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
The lady who does Bobby's voice.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because he does sound like a nasally Bobby.
They continue to get their wrestling in.
Yeah, it's awesome. They're just out there. And they do some weird stuff. Like Con does that deal where like the camera or whatever like goes to her and she like slides underneath it and says, "I want to go to a party school." Yeah, Chico State.
Chico State.
Which is, I got Artie, our guy that gives us our trivia.
Yeah.
He said
up, Artie?
he said that Chico State. Actually, shout out to him. He hit me up like every day I was sick, asking me if I was okay.
Shout out, Artie. Nice job,
yeah.
man.
And he said Chico State was California State University, which Playboy compiled 2 lists of America's top party schools.
I remember that.
They did one in 87 and they did one in 2002.
Yeah.
And in 87, Chico State ranked first, the number 1 party school in the nation. And in 2002, they ranked second. So
what was first? Do you remember?
In 2002? No, he didn't.
It's got to be
he
like
didn't say.
something in Florida.
Probably a Florida school.
Right?
Probably Florida State.
Yeah, Florida State or Miami. So she slides under and she says that like to the camera. Then she ends up zombifying Bobby.
Yeah, which is really funny.
Which is wonderful because the kids on the side.
I don't even think they do that in real. They don't even do that in.
Well, the kids on the side are like, she's zombified him. Snap out of it, Bobby.
Yeah, they start getting into it. They start getting the crowd into it, which is.
And then she rakes his eyes. Bobby squirts the ketchup like it's blood. It's fantastic. And then Khan's even into it. He's like, finish him, no mercy.
Him. Oh yeah, so that was another trivia tidbit that he gave me. So when Khan yells, "No mercy, finish him," that's from the Karate Kid.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so the audience is all cheering and everything. Here comes Peggy in through the door. She's got her big sunglasses on because obviously she's pretty hungover.
Yeah, huge sunglasses.
She comes up to Hank and says, "Why are you smiling?" Oh, did Bobby crush that poor girl in her dreams?
Nope.
Hank says nope. She says so. The only other thing. She
flipped real quick. So that little witch whipped my boy.
That's the only other thing that could have
instantly.
happened. Yeah. And Hank's like, nope. They figured out a way. Listen to the cheers, Peggy. I think they both won. And then this is your lesson at the end.
Yeah.
Where both Peggy and Hank are super proud of Bobby. And she says, "That's our boy. That's our Jeffrey." Which is fantastic.
Yeah, I like that. So yeah, they figured out a way out of it all at the end of it to be able to maintain their friendship and to maintain Bobby's.
I can't imagine how much trouble,
bit of dignity that he might have.
I can't imagine how much trouble they got in with the coach, though. It had to be some trouble, right?
Well, maybe not trouble, but maybe that's the end of their wrestling careers.
Oh yeah,
at least at
he's
that
not
school.
Letting them wrestle anymore.
Or maybe he adds it to the curriculum and lets kids learn how to.
Yeah, I'm kind of doubting that. I don't think this coach grows at all.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah,
I don't think he does.
So we see the credits, and then we get one little final stinger, and it's Clark Peters going, "Oh, that's gotta hurt." At the end there,
yeah. So shout out to Artie for the trivia stuff.
Thanks,
I appreciate
Artie.
that again. I use as much as I could fit in there. And shout out to Larry.
Had somebody else, Larry.
Shout out to Larry as well. I had a guy hit me up on
Larry?
Instagram. And he said that he was going to go take season 1 and 2 to Goodwill if I didn't want them.
Yeah.
And he sent me seasons 1 and 2 of King of the Hill, so I have those at home.
There is a website out there called Everything is Terrible. And we've gone to see their live show and stuff before.
We did. Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things that they do is they collect all of the Jerry Maguire VHSs
I remember
in
that.
the world.
Yeah,
right? And
absolutely.
they have people send them stuff all the time. Can we do that same thing with King of the Hill stuff?
I think we could.
Anybody wants
King of
to
the Hill
send their
related,
DVDs, wants
anything
to send us
King of the Hill
King
related
of the stuff, absolutely. DM us. We'll give you some place to send it.
Yeah, I'll give you any place to send it, and I'll even pay for shipping.
Oh yeah.
And Larry, if you DM me, I'll send you the shipping. You just got to let me know how much it was. You never got back to me with that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But thanks, Larry.
Yeah, I appreciate
What a
that.
man.
I'm going to go through, and I haven't had a chance to pop them in yet, but I'm going to do that today and tomorrow. And I'm going to see if I can get any more content out of it, any more trivia tidbits in the commentary or anything like that. Because not every episode has commentary, but there's some episodes with commentary and stuff like that.
I
like
love
DVD
the commentary stuff. That's so
cool. I like that too.
Yeah.
Especially, I'm not really a big fan of watching commentary for like a full length feature film.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like TV shows, I'll watch 20 minutes, 30 minutes of commentary on a TV show, especially one that I'm doing a podcast about. So
sure.
And especially King of the Hill.
So this was a great episode. It was a little more misogynistic than you really want.
It was wild. Yeah,
because
it's a wild
nobody
episode.
ever really addressed it in the end.
Yeah, and this has got to be probably, man, it's got to be the most controversial episode. Like in today's society, if this episode was presented now, I think that
no, this is a
controversial.
This is a cancelable,
pretty controversial episode.
Yeah.
But I think it's really good though because it does end up showing how silly at the end it all is to do that with kids at that level.
It really is, yeah.
I can understand professional sports being divided by gender, but I feel like in high school sports and stuff like that, there's girls I knew in high school that would whoop dudes on the varsity football team's ass. Yeah. So
I've never really understood it in basketball either because, I mean, I understand the height difference, right? But I have seen some women basketball players that are just phenomenal athletes.
Yeah, free Brittany Griner. She's one of them too. I used to watch her. I watched her entire Baylor run pretty much.
Becky Hammon was she was one of my absolute favorites. I used to take my daughter to see the San Antonio Silver Stars because I wanted her to know that I was putting just as much importance on the women's team as I was the men's team, right?
Well, that's great because that's what more people need to do. Go watch WNBA.
When we would go to a WNBA game, the place was not even half full.
Not even half full, yeah.
Right? We could actually move down to the front row and sit.
Well, I think there's a lack of support even from the NBA who created it. I think there's a lack of financial support. I think there's ways to market that and get that to. There's ways, I'm sure. I just don't think that the NBA, they're making a lot of money and they're paying the men a lot of money. Like the entire salary for women's basketball was like $17 million.
Yeah.
When you've got basketball players that make that like
they should do some double headers a week or something. Where you play a women's game then a men's game or vice versa or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Before or after a men's game or something.
It's super tough to explain to your daughter why the place is not full like it is in a men's game.
I can imagine.
It's super tough. It really is. Anyway, we're not solving that here. It was a great episode. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Me too.
I always enjoy recording this show. Where can they find us?
They can find us everywhere, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at BWAAAKOTH. And I just want to thank everybody for all the engagement and stuff that everybody's been on the pages. And also I want to thank everybody for listening. I think this was I think we're at like 1,500 so far for last month. 15. I think we had like 1,500 downloads, and we appreciate that so much. Like, there's incremental increases every time. So everybody all over the world that's watching, because like our majority of our base is the United States and then Canada, but there are some international listeners, and I appreciate every single person that's not even in America that's listening to it.
What I'm really starting to enjoy is watching the unique listeners go up. So that means that people are telling their friends or whatever, or people are finding the show and listening to it, and more folks are out there listening to it. And then you can't thank you enough. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors.
Tell your dog.
Tell your dog. Tell your mailman. Yeah, whatever you need, mail person.
Yeah.
All right, and I think that's it.
Wimatanye.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.